Canon EOS 1D. Very first professional grade camera Canon made all by themselves. Came out 2002. And having used this camera for 2 or 3 years when I first started out in college, I can finally give a proper review. Attached to the 1.3 crop sensor is a 28 to 135 lens. It's about this big. It weighs quite a bit. It's about, I would say, a good 5 pounds with lens. Buttons on the grip, shutter button, FEL, and a little scroll wheel. Same as up here. It can be turned on and off. That switch right there. Few interesting facts about this camera. It's the only camera with a 1600th shutter speed. They got rid of that after this camera. And really, you never really use it. Only sometimes if you push it. Personally, I think the quality is great with this camera, especially at the low ISOs. One funny fact about this camera is that it has the noise that it forms like little streaks, so it's very noticeable. The screen is definitely not as big as the newer models, but really you get used to it. You focus more on the shot. And I guess the learning curve is greater than the other cameras, but it has manual buttons. It has buttons for everything, which can be accessed very quickly, and once you get used to it, it's very fast. Definitely not a one-handed camera though. You need a one hand to press the buttons, sometimes 2 at a time, and then 1 hand to scroll the wheels, of which they are dedicated, one in the front and one in the back for the aperture and the shutter speed. That being said, I really love this camera. It was very fast, very tough. I literally dropped this camera twice. First time, the first lens broke off, camera still worked fine. Second time, nothing broke. I dropped it on concrete the second time. It looks a lot smaller on this in the video. Let me assure you, this is one hefty camera. Call it a tank, a beast. Autofocus is fast and quiet with this lens. It really, the 1.3 crop sensor really requires a 24 millimeter to maybe a 70 or 100 zoom, if you can afford it. My workable focal length is the 28, is about, widest it goes is about 36, which is not bad, but it definitely leaves more to be desired. But I really love this camera. The only weak point is one of the biggest weak points was the 4 megapixel limit. of which I could actually I could do you can do a lot with 4 megapixels. And this is a great camera to learn on. Full manual, very tough. Took a beating, and it's still going strong. Fire off a few shots right now for you guys. 8 frames a second. Very fast reaction time. Very fast. Very low lag. Let me see if this goes. Let me show you the view through the finder. The finder is 100%. Rated 100% viewfinder. 100% frame coverage. Buffers for 20 frames. On shooting at full RAW. More if you shoot JPEGs. On to part 2 of the review. This is an EOS 1D, original 1D. 8 frames a second. Still fires beautifully. Autofocus is very fast. And quiet with this lens. Shooting JPEGs. This is a RAW. Still very fast. I weighed it on my scale 4.9 pounds with this lens, the 28 to 135 ultrasonic lens. It's got grip on the side, which also works. Everything has dedicated buttons. It was a little bit a steep learning curve, but this was my first camera. Feels really good in your hand. Aerodynamics are great. The grip is very big, so I find even after extended use, your joints in your hand are fine. Although your arm might be a little sore because it is kind of heavy. But if you're a man or very strong women, I think you should have no problems. These you can get for a steal these days. You can buy them used off eBay. They were probably a few grand, $6 new, 10 years ago. But I recommend getting like a slightly newer one for straight photography, no video. It's very, still love this thing.